Hey,
What's up,
yo,
guys?
welcome
Happy
back,
Friday.
welcome
Back from the weekend and the full week.
Welcome to the #1 podcast in the world,
Okay.
Operation Hustle.
That's a little exaggerated there.
All trains, all gains, baby. AbsFitnessTrainer.com. We're going to throw all the plugs, dude. We got to throw the plugs at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Throw
What are
your
you
plug,
doing?
Ollie. Throw your plug.
Trainer_Torres.
Boom.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
There you go.
It's all the same. It's the same handle.
All the same.
Cute.
Yeah. AbsFitnessTrainer.com for training, online training, in-person training, anything you need.
AbsFitness_
Hey.
Brandon, Florida on Instagram. And hello to all of our Insta fans who are watching.
Yeah, you guys can watch it on IG now live. We're going to run it live every week.
We're going to start trying to do that consistently. And then YouTube is Abs Fitness Film House.
Yes, it is.
And so today we're going to get into how to reach your max potential. And so I wanted to bring up something only because yesterday I was looking through videos, old videos. Instagram has given us an opportunity to get paid for reels. So I just started going into some of our old videos and I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy that Instagram saved all these videos from like years
ago.
The
OG video.
So we had an OG video from the garage. Cringeworthy. Maybe I'll share it.
Yeah, we should. We should make that a reel.
I was thinking that we should make it a reel of like side by side of how well we've developed our talking skills. But anyways, so what I was thinking when I was looking at this video is just consistency. That's what came to mind. That looking at all of these videos from so long ago is that we have been consistent on Instagram for years.
Yeah, way too long. It feels. But here's a quote that actually goes with that. Continuous effort, not strength or intelligence, is key to unlocking our potential. So we stayed on that stupid little IG forever, consistently, over 5 years. And finally, they offer to pay us.
That sounds so pathetic.
Minimal pennies. But it's a payment, baby. We made it. You know what I'm saying? We did it this long. The consistency paid off.
If you have a business and you want organic leads, you want people to come find you on there. We just had an organic DM sign up a couple days ago.
Yeah.
We get organic DMs all the time. But is that you just want to be consistent. And, that means even when you don't feel like it, you still do it, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like putting up 1 million stories a day. Trust me. It gets to a point where I want to throw the fucking phone in the lake.
It's a lot.
I'm just like, I don't want to fucking deal with this anymore.
That's why the real famous people, they have people that put it on, they put the shit out there for them, which is great.
I really understand that now.
It's perfect.
And they probably have somebody that follows them around and videos them because it's a lot.
They need it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that's not going to happen.
Right.
It's impossible to do it by yourself. It's not. There's a few people that have done it, but once they've done it so long, then it turns into they hire people because it gets to be too much.
Right. And they jumped on the platforms when they first started and stuff. And now you really have to put a lot of effort in. You have to really have creative content. You really have to be informative. You really have to do your research. You really have to post when it's high engagement. So there's a lot that goes into it, Or
you just shake your donkey donk, baby, and you get all them views. That's just how it goes sometimes. The luck of the draw. But anyway, when it comes to potential, there's different areas that you can, progress in. It's not just like physical. It's mental, spiritually, financially.
Yep.
Emotionally.
Yep.
There's others that maybe I'm missing. But you can progress in different areas and you don't have to work on all at the same time. But if you do, then you're only going to become better, which is great. So I'd like to go in maybe like some financial tips to give people that can help them progress forward in life in general. So when it comes to money, saving is good, but investing is also good as well. So you got to invest smart and you have to save smart. And you have to spend less.
I do want to give a tip on investing, right? Because a lot of people assume, and this came to mind because a client had talked to me about it a couple days ago. A lot of people assume that investing means into stocks because that's like kind of like straight where our brain goes, investing into stocks, maybe assets, stuff like that. But you can actually invest in yourself.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is that, if you have a business or if you are working for a business, like you're still an independent contractor, you can invest in yourself by doing things. And he does this. There's a platform like Bark, and that's investing in yourself. You're buying yourself credit so you can buy leads so that only builds up your little business more.
Yes.
And so you can invest in yourself that way. You can invest in yourself with putting time. Investing doesn't always mean money. Investing can mean time as well. Time into your reels. And if you put enough time into your reels, you might get the opportunity to get paid on there. Or maybe it's just to bring more clout to your page so you get more organic leads so you get paid for more for your own leads. And I'm just using Ollie as an example,
Yeah.
but you know, I have a client that was interested in doing some things entrepreneurship wise for herself. And you know, it gets scary if you've never taken that leap. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I should spend this money, or you know, oh, I don't know if I should really spend the money for Canva Pro. You
You
can
should.
invest in yourself.
You definitely
It's
should.
totally worth it,
Yeah.
because once you do, you're going to start to see the fruit of your looms, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, this whole entire time I was like, oh, that seems like such a waste of money. I was one of those
Yeah.
people. I really only downloaded like free apps. And
I
now
still have some free ones.
I still have some free ones, but like there are some apps where it is worth it to
It's
buy the
definitely worth
pro,
some,
because it's
for
like
sure.
being your own little marketing agency. If you don't
Yeah.
have enough for a marketing agency to run shit for you, you can run your own shit with Canva Pro.
Run your shit.
Just in a small example.
Canva, sponsor me right now.
Any
That
tips
would be
from you,
sick,
Ollie?
though. Canva, I know you hear me right now. You know what I'm saying?
I heard a really simple way of doing things from Derek. He's one of my clients that I'm really
T-Money.
fortunate to be able to work with.
He's been on the podcast. Check
Yep,
it
he
out.
has been on the
Episode
podcast.
we don't know, but he's on there.
Super smart guy.
Yeah.
And I have the privilege of, discussing topics that I find are important to myself. One of those is financial freedom and financial health.
Dope.
And so this morning I was actually talking to him about it, and I was like, yeah, it's always interesting to try and figure out which direction the world is heading in, because, as we say, history repeats itself. And so if you look to the past, you can often see where the current state of things kind of aligns within that timeline, and you can almost predict where things are going to go in the future. We're not fucking oracles. No one knows exactly what's going to happen, but it's interesting to try and figure out which path is going to be the path towards, your success in, let's say, particularly the financial sector. And so I was talking to Derek about this, and he was like, well, it's not even that complicated. He said,
Of course.
the answer is pretty simple. It's just not easy. He said it's kind of hard, and it requires commitment and consistency over time. And basically what that consistency was is, he said, if you were 16 and you invested $10 a week into your 401k, by the time you were 35, you would be a millionaire.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways you can
That's all you
invest.
had to do.
I heard him say something the other day too. I wanted to bring this up because
Of course.
it just goes along with this. Okay, but I'm just saying. I heard Derek in another session earlier this week say to him that when you're young, and you guys were talking about teachers, you think your teachers are dumb, and then you get older and you're like, wow, they were right about a lot of things.
Mhm.
So it's like when we're young, we don't think that way. I think it has to start in the home. You really have to train your kids to be able to trust you, and show them that you are leading them in the right direction. And you're not just telling them you're going to do this. Why? Because I said so, but you're giving them reasons as to why. Hey, if you want to be a millionaire by this age, this is how we're going to do this. So if you trust me, you'll give me $10 out of your paycheck every week, and I will continue to show you week after week. But you can't just not show them that what you're doing with it. You have to show them as it's growing, and so they can physically see the vision, right? But if you can show someone your vision and they trust you, they will hop on that vision as well. And that goes along with a 16-year-old. But many kids don't trust their parents. They don't see the vision, so they don't do it.
And that's something really interesting that I find only lends to my current philosophy on trying to live in the moment and understand and appreciate everything that is currently happening around me. So I'm trying to constantly soak in what's happening in my environment, and I find that when I was younger, I was in the right state of mind to do that. When I was in school, I was in the right state of mind. I was listening to my teachers, whether or not I thought they were crazy, because I definitely thought this guy was crazy. His name was Mr. Sotero, and he told me stories about how when he was playing football, he used to collect teeth, and he would put them around a little chain on his neck and tell the other kids. He'd be like, you see this molar? I got this from number 76 in my last game. So, I mean, the guy was definitely freaking crazy.
Did he ever bring the necklace in?
But some of the stuff he said makes sense, and I see it playing out in the world around me today, because he just was really smart, even though he was crazy.
Sometimes you have to do dumb. The easiest things are gonna make it easier. As dumb as that sounds. So spend less money. It's that easy. You have to spend less than you make, and a lot of people spend more than they actually make. The car that you have, you don't need the greatest car in the world to get to point A to point B.
I just put a reel out on this.
We all just want it.
Mm-hmm.
So reel,
small, you need to stop spending your fucking money that you don't even have.
Yeah, and you keep an open mind to
very
that
easy to
specifically. like
Yeah.
what Justin just said, if you keep an open mind to that, it applies to so many parts of life.
Everything.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem isn't so much that people are spending, right? Because we need people to spend so we can keep the economy going, including us. But the problem is that people are spending money on things that are not bringing them any sort of exponential growth in any of these departments. They're spending money on things like,
Everything.
consumer.
This right here.
Mhm.
What
Consumer
money not well spent, people.
Right. Well, yes.
Celsius,
Okay, but
garbage.
we don't have any examples up
Wasting
here,
money.
but like I'm gonna give you an example. Like the woman that goes and gets her nails done that might need physical training or a nutritionist because they're in horrible health and they might not make it another 10 years, but the nail seems more important to them. And I bring that up constantly
It's a
because
smart
there
investment.
are thousands, millions of women that do this. Stop doing this, women. If you need help, you want to extend your life, how long do you plan on living?
Call
Get
Ask
the
Fitness.
help. Stop spending the money on the stupid things that aren't bringing you any sort of expansion into any of these other departments of your life.
Yeah.
The
It's-
nails do nothing.
You put your money
ladies.
towards something that's going to benefit you instead of the
Yeah.
Starbucks every day or whatever it is. I mean, any store that I walk into, I spend stupid money too. I'm not going to lie to you. Everybody does it. It's
Mhm.
very easy to swipe a card than it is to spend the cash. So maybe the new goal or the new tip would be to actually maybe take out the cash that you will spend for the day, even though it's a hassle. Maybe you'll spend less because now you don't want to go to the bank. But take out $100 a day or whatever you want to spend, and that's all you get. And once it's gone, and you can't use that fucking card
Mhm.
because the card's so easy to swipe. You don't care. It doesn't affect you.
Well-
You don't physically have to give the money
Another thing
or
is
see it leave your hand.
I have a client that does a little bit of financial coaching on the side. And one thing that she sees often is that people always say, oh, I just don't, how I'm going to save money, or they're in, astronomical amounts of debt, from consumer debt and all sorts of stuff, school loans, blah, 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 blah. But one of the first things that she does with them is shows them a bunch of apps that help save money that people just don't even care to use. They don't want to put the time into it, but they will sit on that social media and scroll for hours. That gives them no money.
Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to all our channels, people,
Right.
and make sure you
But,
keep scrolling up and down them
Again,
reels.
we're giving out information that's helpful here. But so anyways, back to this. But so you can download simple apps, and even if you don't think you're going to be able to put enough, attention span to every single one of them, start off with a couple. I've given you guys these apps before. Get Upside. Okay, it's an app that will help you save money for gas.
I got
Not
an app
sponsored.
for you.
What?
Non-sponsored.
It's
Non-sponsored.
called
You're right.
Get a Brain and
Okay.
use it
I'm
correctly.
still going on here. Let's not talk over me. So get Upside.
You weren't speaking.
And then you can do just the scan your receipts, right? So you can do like Receipt Hog and Fetch. And so you scan both receipts on both apps, and you can hit both apps, and eventually you get build up enough points you can get gift cards through Fetch, and you can get actual cash transferred over into your PayPal with Receipt Hog.
Yeah. You could also bury your coins behind your house, hide some money in the air vents.
Surveys, look surveys for cash. They are around. All you have to do is Google it.
Financials over.
Okay.
We're done.
What?
Yes.
That's some really good suggestions.
All right. Ali's got one more suggestion. Let me move on.
You can mug one person
There it is.
every Saturday night. Take whatever money you get, invest it in a
Dude.
401k.
Don't get caught and you'll be Gucci, doggy.
All right.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
That'd be a good
Now we
workout,
can move
too,
on
'cause you're gonna have
let's
to
move
run
on to
and fight.
physical. Okay. Physical, like body, fitness, health.
Yep. Okay.
That stuff. Yeah. The stuff we are specialists.
So how you start to exponentially grow in this department it's simple, guys. Start.
Yeah.
Just start. So please.
One foot in front of the other.
Right?
People.
So, and I can't tell you how many people, and I love this movement because I love the fact that people, want to feel confident and they want to feel good about themselves and they want to stop comparing themselves to others, and we should absolutely stop doing that. But we shouldn't just give up because we failed many times on our fitness journey and now just say, oh, now I'm doing this for my mental health and I'm not going to let the fitness industry destroy my mental health with their summer bodies and blah, 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 blah. Listen, the fitness industry did not destroy you. You gave up. That's the honest truth.
McDonald's,
you gave up
Chick-fil-A,
and you didn't feel like getting back on the horse.
Burger King.
It's okay to fail a million times.
Arby's.
It's okay. Right?
Yeah.
You just get back up.
I think the only people that are ever successful are those that become best friends
Barrel.
with their failures. You got to fail over and over again. You got to be real comfortable with it. You know?
fail forward, man.
Eventually, you start to love it.
Yeah.
Like, how much do you love the fact that you can't just push however?
Well,
like,
it's a
4
challenge.
plates whenever
it's not
you
really
want to.
the failure. It's the challenge.
Exactly.
I like a challenge. And
Yeah.
anyone that likes challenges is usually
And
successful.
you know what it is? Maybe we need to start reframing that mindset, right? So if you fall off your diet, you maybe hired a trainer, you gained 20 pounds back, and you decide not to continue with the trainer, and now you're like, you know what? I love my body positivity, because you're so upset and you don't feel like doing it again. Change that mindset. You know, it's not necessarily a failure, it's a challenge. You know what? I gained the weight back, and this is another challenge. Life is full of challenges. If
Mhm.
you give up, you're going to become complacent and you're going to become comfortable. And then you're in turn, whether you may think you're happy right now by just accepting yourself, eventually that, unhappiness, that depression will come right back.
You know the beautiful part about failure too? It's a side effect. It's a side effect of trying to do something
Yeah.
that was too
Yeah.
big of a challenge for you to accomplish at that time.
It's
But
needed.
exactly,
Yeah.
it's
But
needed.
that doesn't mean that won't be too big for you at another time.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's the whole point. It's
Mhm.
like you had the balls to approach something that you knew was going to be difficult, that you knew
100%.
you might not accomplish,
Yeah.
and you still went for it. And guess what? You failed. But the alternative to that is you get symptoms of other things. Instead of failure, you're going to feel that crushing weight of regret
Yeah.
just hovering over your life.
That's how it was when I started riding my bike in the very beginning. I
Mhm.
crashed it about 1,000,000 times. I wanted to give up. I was riding one of my stepsister's bikes, so it was embarrassing. A pink little bike. Here I am, fucking crashing over and over and
The
over.
image of failure.
And I
The
just
image
wanted
of Justin on a pink bike.
exactly paint this picture, people. But I wanted to ride the bike. My brother was riding the bike. All my friends could ride the bike.
Were you cussing
couldn't
like
ride
when
it.
you kept skinning your
I was
knees and
pretty young,
stuff?
but I definitely I hit a truck. Like I ran into
Ooh.
things. Like it took a while to learn that stupid bike, but I didn't give up. I fell down a lot of times, but I got up and learned the bike. Then I was jumping the bike, and then I got a dirt bike, and then I had a motorcycle.
All right, we get
And
it
that
with
all
the bikes.
started with falling on that bike.
And then I'm gonna get a Tron bike and an
Ooh.
e-bike.
We're gonna.
You already
I
got
have an
the
He
e-bike.
already has
See?
that. Okay.
I'd
So
love
many
a
bikes.
hover bike.
Listen, I think that the theme
A
here
one wheel.
of what we're talking about. Okay, we're ignoring you now.
That's fine.
The theme here is that the regret can actually be the motivator.
Yeah.
Is that
Oh, yeah.
if you feel bad enough about something, and this just comes to mind, is one of the things that helps keep me sober, because I'm on my 7th year of sobriety, guys.
Ooh,
One of the things that keeps me
That's big.
sober and
Huge.
away from
Yeah.
alcohol, it is big, because you know what? I am not 1%. There's a lot of people
Ooh.
that still struggle
I don't know
with
if you'd
alcohol.
I'd want to lump myself in with those 1%ers.
Okay, well, anyways, the regret of all the things that I did, the regret of all the life that I didn't live because I was drunk and not, enjoying the
No.
beauty of the planet, right? All those parties I went to instead of going and exploring, all those mean things I said to people that I wish I didn't, or things that I did, or blackouts, or stupid, embarrassing things I did, or waking up not remembering how I got there. That regret right there is the motivator for me. I never want to be that person again. So it motivates me every day. And I don't
Yeah.
want to forget the regret. I think the regret's important.
For sure. 100%.
Failure is massively important.
Failure's
But
great.
it's important to not let the regret bring you to a dark place. Let the regret push you to be better. Because just because you were once that person doesn't mean you have to be that person for the rest of your life. I am now the person I am today I'm no longer the alcoholic Abby that's hurting people. That was me, but that's not me now.
No,
But
you're
that
not your
doesn't
past.
Right. That doesn't mean I have to let the
It's that
regret
simple.
make me feel bad, but I can still let, at the same time, the regret motivate me.
Oh,
if
yeah.
that makes sense.
And
Yeah.
you can change. People can change.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It's not easy, but it can be done.
You can teach old dogs new tricks. We
Yeah.
see it all the time.
And
You have to be consistent as
oftentimes,
fuck.
it's the biggest regrets that like compel people the most to make the largest change in the world around them, to
Yeah.
like bring about that peace and
100%.
that they seek to see, because they did fuck it up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's almost compulsory. Like when you do something that you regret immensely, it's like you almost feel, if you're a moral and ethical person and you have some sort of morality clause in, like, I don't know, your mindset or your philosophy about life, then it will compel you, because you're going to realize, holy shit, I've accrued like this level of moral debt and I need to pay it back.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, moving on to emotional department.
Ooh.
Any
Emotions.
tips on how to expand in your emotional department?
Cry.
No, I think
Let it
that's
out. For real, though. Let it
I
out.
think that's a great tip. I think it is important to cry
Most
and
men
not
won't.
to hold it in. And you're right, most men won't,
Right.
but it is important. That was one of the biggest, like, most simple tips that my counselor gave me after my parents died. Was like, if you feel like crying,
Let it on out.
if you feel like you need to rest and take a nap because you're drained from your emotional distress, then do
Yeah.
that. Do whatever it is that your mind is feeling like doing at that time when you're going through stressful, really, really traumatic things, right? Because different things happen in our life. You may lose a parent, you may lose a spouse, you may lose a baby, you may lose a job, you may get evicted from a house, you may lose a house, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, all those cause emotional distress. They can make us feel exhausted. They can bring us down. But it's important to really listen to your body and listen to your mind during those times, and try your best to give yourself as most self-care as you can, right? Because sometimes when you have
Emotions
kids, you
are
can't,
insane.
but go in the other room, allow yourself to have, if you have children, 5 minutes to cry, right? You can't unattend the kids, but
Well, you can't do it all the time. If you need,
right.
like, do it when needed.
When
You
needed.
can't just cry like whenever you feel like it.
No, but a lot of times I feel like
Yeah.
parents, families, they feel like they have to be this strong, household, provider. And it's like, you're just a human. And it's important for
Yeah.
your kids to see that too. It's important for your kids to see that you are vulnerable and that you can be hurt, because you don't want them to think that you're invincible. And then now they're going to think they're invincible going off into the world. You want them to see that you also are breakable and that you can get up from being broken.
I think a lot of men or boys are raised in that style where it's like, get up, move forward, shut up, you're fine.
It's not just boys. My dad taught me the same thing. He would always say, "Shut up! Why are you crying?"
Yeah, but it's
Like-
how you were raised, so you're used to it.
Right.
Then you kind of grow up, then you lose touch with your emotions. I think a good tip is to maybe next time you're feeling anything, maybe write down what you're feeling and figure out what emotion it is, so you can pinpoint, like, this is how I feel when this emotion is present. And you can kind of pinpoint, like, how you react, because your emotions make you react a certain way. So it would be nice to figure out, like, why you react to certain things, triggers, all things that I've been learning recently. I've pushed emotions away for a long time, so it's easy for me to
And a lot of
mask
men are
the
not even really
emotions.
aware of what emotions are. And although it sounds simple, because most people are like, oh, yeah, the chart when you were little, and then are you sad? Are you anxious? Are you mad? Are you happy? It sounds stupid, but maybe you should pull that chart out. And I'm sure you can find it on Pinterest and print it out, but it is important. He's absolutely right to look at the emotion and figure out, in that situation, whatever reaction you had, let's say you snapped at someone, you had a bad reaction, what was driving that reaction? Was it anxiety and you weren't sure how to deal with the anxiety? So, you felt overwhelmed, and instead of letting someone know, and warning them, hey, Ollie, I'm feeling really anxious today. This is going on in my life, and that way that person knows how to properly navigate around you, based off of your emotion. And they might decide to, just be a little more sensitive towards you that day, just because they know and they care about you. Now, that can't always be the case. You're going to go into stores where people don't always know you, but at least if you're aware of it, it's coming to the conscious and being aware of the emotion has less,
it's almost like a control
on your behavior.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand that there's a distinction between moments in which you should allow your emotions to come to the surface and allow them to be expressed, because that's what's going to be beneficial in the current state, and understanding that there is a balance to it, because there are times in which you're going to need to suppress certain emotions in order,
just like walk around weeping all the time.
Exactly. So you're going to need to be able to operate functionally
regularly.
Regularly, in order to stay afloat in just the world. So I think it's important that you do distinguish, like, those times of emotional vulnerability and those times of emotional control.
Yeah. Absolutely, because you can't go into work, right, with all your own personal emotional problems.
Well, you could, and no one wants to talk to you.
You could, right? But here's the thing, it's important for people to learn, and especially even children, so it's like, this is definitely vital to teach your kids when they're young. There are emotions for certain times, and that doesn't mean suppress it altogether. I think what Ollie's saying is, you walk through the door, you turn that switch on. I'm at work. I'm going to put a smile on, even if that may not be how I'm feeling at this moment. And be aware and be present in the moment as to where you're at and who's needing you. You know what I mean? You're at work and clients need your attention. They need your energy. They need your motivation. And they might be having a horrible day because somebody's also always having a bad day out there besides you. But then
100%.
you allow yourself to feel the emotions. You know what? And you tell yourself before you walk in, take a deep breath and you say, all right, when I leave work, I'm going to allow myself 10 minutes to just cry in my car by myself and scream if I have to let that emotion out. But right now, I'm here, I'm at work, these people need me, and they're struggling. And putting into others will help you get through that emotional moment.
Yeah, and I find
Yeah.
what's really interesting with me being an artist pretty much all my life, and art being a real large form of my expression of like myself and my emotions and whatnot. Not even just like pen to paper or like sketch art, but even martial arts is like it's an expression of your own inner state. And so I find that, excuse me, sorry people,
Interstate.
my inner state is gaseous. But yeah, so I find that it's really interesting that as you advance through levels of this of life, and even through like specific arts, you'll find that at a certain point your skill reaches a level that emotionality almost affects it in a poor way, because it's so ingrained, and it's found a rhythm and a pattern of its own. So introducing new emotion can disturb that pattern and disturb your flow.
Yeah.
So
it's automatic.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't feel emotions, you do emotions. So like you learn these habits of like, when I'm angry, we throw things, or like something like that, or we yell. Like it's automatic. It's hard to turn off.
Is that where you're going with that?
Not necessarily.
I didn't think
Either
so.
way, well,
Continue on.
that's what I'm getting.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying that like especially in a fight, you from all my research, it's like the best martial artists, like not Mike Tyson because he's a different animal, but the best martial artists, they all established. Well, I guess
he'll bite your ear out.
Yeah, he did establish a baseline. He established like a mode of being within the moment, within the ring, that was very specific to the ring and to the fight.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see different martial artists and see it within myself, that like there's a state of mind that you have to enter into, in which like emotionality is either your ally or it's your enemy, but you need to understand when it's both, like when it's either your ally or your enemy. So it's kind of crazy to think about, like especially like whenever I'm sparring and whatnot.
You can use it for good or evil.
I think that was perfectly said, because this is going along again with a common theme in this entire episode, which is awareness and consciousness. And that's something that Ali's been talking to us about a lot, that he's been kind of, really trying to practice being in the moment. He said that. And that's really important, because I can't even tell you, like when I have PTSD, I had a traumatic childhood when I was younger. I didn't really understand it. But now that I'm in the moment more as an adult, I'm in the moment when I'm having, triggers, and I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware of my surroundings. I'm able to at least explain to Justin. He may, like before, when I first started dating him, he may not have understood when you came up on me, in a room and didn't knock, like why I was jumpy or why I freaked out, or maybe why that emotion stayed with me for a while. But now he knows. But I'm getting to a point where I can explain those things, and I'm more aware in the moment, and I'm not allowing the emotion to come across through behavior, and more so through communication of words, which is really hard to do, guys. I'm not saying this is easy. It is very hard to do. We are all still working on this ourselves, but this is a step into a really healthy emotional expansion for yourself.
Yeah, it's like an emotional state of balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's difficult to achieve.
It is.
It takes forever.
But on that note, we'll wrap it up for today. I think that we gave some great gems today. So definitely replay this back, write them down if you didn't get them and you were just listening and soaking it up. But there's a lot of things that was talked about today that can help you really just expand in multiple departments of your life. So you can find us on YouTube, Abs Fitness Film House. You can find us on Instagram, Abs Fitness _ Brandon, Florida, Facebook, Abs Fitness LLC. And you can train in person or online with any one of us on www.absfitnesstrainer.com. Okay. And then TikTok is
Abs Fitness Tampa.
And Ollie, throw out your handles.
Trainer _ Torres for everything.
We'll see you next week.
Every Friday, 2 to 2:30 p.m.
#1 podcast in the world. Goodbye.